Timestamp, it's June 20th, 2025. Barely 11:55 p.m., something like that. It is almost midnight. 11:55. Time for one more story. Walking Scrappy. Tanner wants nothing to do with outside right now. It's wet. It's been raining most of the night. And I've been fighting with backed up pipes for the past hour or two. Not sure if it's clogged or if the one drain field issue is becoming a thing. I had the tank pumped a month ago. My parents had been having to have it pumped like once or twice a year. 1 month, that seems too short. I feel like it's got to be a clog. But I need to get that company out here to inspect and give me a quote on the drain fields, and let's go ahead and do it. Because, yikes. According to the tech, they came out here to pump the septic tank. There should be about 4 working drain fields, and there is 1. Which explains why they've had to have it pumped once or twice a year. It also makes me question my mom's cognitive abilities towards the end there. Just because for the past 3 years I've been telling her, hey, instead of having it pumped once or sometimes twice a year, which isn't normal, if you got the drain fields taken care of, it would be once every 8 to 15 years like everybody else. And she said, oh, it's expensive, it costs thousands of dollars. Well, I tried to explain. Having people come out once or twice a year is costing you thousands of dollars. And it's probably, honestly, double the cost. And you're dealing with inefficient equipment besides. But she wouldn't hear it. The reason I say what I do is, I've got that dramatic lighting going on again. My mom 10 years ago, very frugal woman. If you're into astrology, she's a triple Capricorn, sun, moon, rising. Very frugal, very down to earth, very, this is a good decision, this is what we do. The idea that she was not even really considering it. And I understand the argument of, oh, it costs thousands to do it. I checked with Brian down the street who had it done. That's who her main lead quote was from the neighbor. The price that he said he paid, they could write that check 5 times. So the idea of it costs thousands, oh, we can't afford it. Yeah, you could. You could have. For years, you could have. And I know because I know their finances. Which again makes me think that my mom wasn't... I think she had been struggling with complex problem solving for a while. Between that and staring at the power bill, I know I told you about that. I think that had been an issue for a while. It's weird, you look back on things, it's like when a TV series does a big reveal and you start going back through your own mind episode by episode and seeing the clues that were laid and going, oh yeah, when he said he was referring to, I didn't pick up on that. I just thought he was making conversation or making a joke, I think she's been having problems longer than that. I think the strokes that she had a couple years ago amplified it, but the stuff that I'm finding around here that just doesn't make a whole hell of a lot of sense. Mosquito. That. Yep. It just rained in Florida. Alright, Scrappy, you've had enough time. Good Lord. Got 6 of them on me. I am yummy. I am a yummy treat. I still maintain there's something about the blood types. Because I've heard that O blood type has more protein typically in their blood, because O blood type are typically more carnivores. And I've talked to a lot of other people who are O blood type, and if you ask them what their favorite food is, they will usually tell you meat. Doesn't matter. Italian, Mexican, Cuban. Meat. How is the meat delivered? And is there lots of it? O blood type or protein junkies. Hi, Scrappy. Thanks for tripping me. You ready? Yep. I got him. Can you get out of my way? Thanks. Kids. If you put me in a room with 9 other people and release 10 mosquitoes, 9 of those mosquitoes will come from me. Here we go. You get your 1 cookie. Go. One per customer, sir. Uncle Tanner didn't come in here to get his, and he didn't go outside anyway, so. Let me get some coffee. So, I did find some old Drano that my dad had. I tried that. A little bit of progress. I don't know if it's clogged pipes or the septic tank again. It seems too early for the septic tank already. I gotta get it done anyway, though. That was actually another thing. I have a really good excuse here, because that was actually another safety/health thing that was on the list from DCF. Because Holly, the investigator that we were dealing with, she had asked me, other than the bed bugs and the lanai, are there any other problems that you know of going forward at their place that your parents hadn't been taking care of? I felt like I was narking them out, but I'm like, well, can I have my seat back, Jinx? Let me put it another way. I want my seat back. There you go. Yeah, you sit there. I'm not going to lie to the DCF agent. I'm just not. Something about lying to a state official, I feel like, is just kind of a bad career move, Lying to any kind of state official that has investigator in their name seems like seems foolish, And I know that Holly went and asked my mom about the list, and I guess my mom verified the various things that I had said. So, it wasn't just me, it was my mom even going, yeah, that's a problem. Yeah, that's been a thing. Yeah, we should probably do that. Which did add to the then why aren't you argument. You know, the bed bugs and the one-eye ceiling were the biggies, but there were 4 other smaller bullet points on the get this done list, which my mom, and here's what I say about the cognitive issues. I found personally, I've got a bunch of Plants vs. Zombies figures up here too. Them and the Among Us, and I got some Star Wars droids, and I'm just a dork. I know that. It's one of the other things that leads me to I think maybe there was cognitive issues the whole time, or for a while. See, like the bed bugs. That's been going on since at least January of this year, to my knowledge. And when pressed, my mom said that she had called Orkin. And she did. She called Orkin, and I asked her what that meant. And I really cornered her on this. And she said she called Orkin to find out if they do that service. To which they said yes. And she said, okay, let me think about it. Okay. You called, you know. But complex problem solving is actually one of the things that usually is affected in like moderate and or severe, which is another reason that my dad has 500 partially begun projects around here and nothing finished. Not in years. Is because he would start a project and then not follow through, not be able to actually see it through to completion. Okay, that was a cat jumping onto the washer or the dryer. Jinx, you okay there, buddy? You're licking yourself. Okay. That definitely had "And the Agony of Defeat" sound effect going along with it. I could hear the music from Wide World of Sports. I could see the skier. I think maybe I had the washer or the dryer open and there was a jump and they didn't realize, and chaos ensued. Well done, lad. But with complex problem solving, a lot of these things require complex problem solving abilities. You can't take a very old rusty bike that doesn't work and get it shiny new and functional if you can't solve complex problems. Because the entire thing is a series of complex problems that you've got to really suss out and fix. So if you're having a hard time following through with like a 5-step or a 20-step plan from start to finish, if you can't do complex problem solving, you won't be getting that done. You can't. You're going to get one part of it done and then spin, as they say, for 6 months until you can maybe get to the next step if you remember that you did the first step already. But I think maybe my mom was having issues with that longer ago than just the past 2 years. Because there are a lot of things I'm noticing more and more. I really hope I can keep this down to 2 years. I'm noticing more and more little things. I'm not even going to go into it here. But stuff that, why wasn't this taken care of? You know what I mean? It looks like you started, but why didn't you see it through? It wasn't a lack of, resources or this or that, because you either could have gotten it very easily or you have it right here. So why didn't you use it? Why didn't you make the phone call and say, hey, get this to me so I can wrap this up? It's curious. I'll never know. And I've definitely got my suspicions. One thing I did discover, and I don't know if I told you this or not, I discovered this a little while ago. We had found some paperwork from one of my mom's doctors, and it was dated 2020. This is the Harry and David chocolate peanut butter. I broke that out, and we're doing some Sylvester action. But I found basically a doctor recommendation for a BiPAP. Getting a BiPAP here at home back in 2020. So all this past year or two, when doctors and nurses were saying you should be able to get a BiPAP, that actually had been something that doctors have been recommending for 5 years now. Why is that relevant? With COPD, more often than not, especially with emphysema, maybe not as much with chronic bronchitis, those are pretty much the two types of COPD. With emphysema, we have a harder time getting rid of the CO2. We want to make room for oxygen and expel the CO2. We are the opposite of trees, where they want to expel the oxygen and retain the CO2. That's why animals and plants form a really nice symbiotic circle. Science 101, right? If they were recommending that she get a BiPAP 5 years ago, that means for at least 5 years she's been having a real hard time, because that's when you're starting to get into the this is more serious kind of stage. That means for 5 years she's been having a harder time expelling the CO2. The CO2 buildup can cause all kinds of problems with the front of your brain. Personality shifts, judgment, there's a lot of different things that go on up here. That would explain a lot. And that would accelerate bad judgment. Been pondering that since we found that prescription, recommendation, whatever you want to call it. It's curious. Trying to unravel the mysteries here. But it's real possible that she's been, had been, I guess. Still getting used to what tense I should use. But it's real possible that brain damage, and I know that sounds harsh, saying your mom has brain damage. Well, I think she legitimately did, and I think it may have been going on longer than we really suspected before. Because again, if they were recommending a BiPAP 5 years ago, she's been having CO2 issues for 5 years. I don't know. Again, never know, right? That would explain a lot. I mean, Dad's been hallucinating for at least 8 years. The Blasteroids is in, I think they call it attract mode, when a video game basically does shout-outs and stuff like that to try and entice a passerby to put in a quarter. And I'm leaving it that way. It doesn't bother me at all. In fact, it gives me that 80s arcade vibe, and it just makes me go, But if he's been hallucinating for 8+ years, we know that he was mid-stage dementia 8 years ago, because that's not a I just started dementia symptom. It's a mid-stage. So they were both dealing with some brain issues, possibly for 5 years plus. both of them. That explains a hell of a lot. Because man, I could talk for hours of some of the crazy stuff I've seen my mom do and or say over the past 5-8 years. And I just thought it was cranky old woman stuff. It may not have been. Doesn't change my situation exactly. But the mad scientist in me is speculating. I say that because there's like a ton of characters out there that I would love to still play on stage or whatnot. And like half of them are mad scientist type characters. I don't know what that says about me. I'd love to play Frankenstein, Jekyll. I mean, I already played Frankenfurter. He wasn't on my bucket list, though. He was not on my bucket list. That was a completely left field, hey, we're going to do this. Okay. Anyway. It was easily the most naughty fun I've ever had on stage. Yeah. I don't know how else to put it. Anyway. I'm going to go work on some pipes. What does he mean by that? So many things tickling the back of my mind. And use it. Alright. Yapped enough. Make it a great day.